So obviously I'm quite late to this party, but here we are. Um, I just want to throw a little opinion out there that I have not heard yet about this whole Roe v. Wade situation and all this. Anything the government does, okay? So listen to me. Since I was a young child, I have been anti-establishment since as long as I can remember. Um, not so much the people. It's these people who are getting um, sold an idea of what they're supposed to be doing, but that's not exactly what they're doing at all. So it's people who are being victimized, who are put in these positions to do this kind of stuff, and it's usually people who have family members who have been in the service or worked for in these positions, or uh, um, like enforce these rules. Listen, the government has no real authority over you as a person because everything can be bought. So many people think that, like, if you've never been in trouble with the law and you've never been through the court system, you're going to think that, I guarantee that you think that, innocent until proven guilty and all this stuff that they sell you, all these ideas. But once you actually go through it, you realize if you have enough money, you can get away with a lot of shit. A lot of shit. Like, basically nothing applies to you if you don't mind paying a fine or court costs or attorney fees. Those kind of things will, like, that's how this American system works, unfortunately. Um, and so as long as, to be a sovereign human, you have to know how to make your own medicine, or at least craft things for yourself that can keep you healthy. No, like, you're a part of the ecosystem. You work in tandem. You work with the environment to create safer spaces for the things that are there. And the government can't take that away from you. The government can't take away your sovereign rights as a human. They can try to enforce all this crap, and they can try to scare you, and they will try to scare you into a lot of shit, into submission, they will strike your fears. Like, they play on your fears. Like, that's what they do. That's how they get us to listen. Oh, the masses. I'm not a part of it because I don't fall for it. I used to, and sometimes I do catch myself, like, feeding into the fear mongering, which causes you to go into a more primitive part of your brain and a more primitive part of your personality, to where you're not using your full cognitive abilities, and you're not making, you're not using your critical thinking skills in those moments. You are acting on fears because, like, I stopped watching the news maybe 15 years ago because I noticed that it was just a bunch of people sitting in nice buildings, not having to worry about the things that they were telling me to worry about. They all have this script they follow, like, and then once you do deeper research, you realize that 6 companies own all of these stations. And if you think they're not pushing an agenda, I'm sorry, but you are sadly mistaken. The main agenda, point blank period, is money. That's it. Like, if they can sell you something, if they can sell you an idea, if they can sell you a fear, if they can sell you an insecurity, they're gonna do it. Like, if they're gonna play on all of those things, but it takes your participation and your willingness to believe those things and not stand firm in who you are and where you came from and what you're capable of. You have to, the government never does anything without your consent. So if you have an insecurity um, that is being preyed upon, or a fear, that is basically an invitation to go deeper. Ask yourself the questions of why am I afraid of this? What do I think is going to happen? What do I think if it like what do I think I'm preventing by playing into this fear? Like, ask yourself all these deep questions. Um, and when you really go through these experiences, you know, you realize that you are sovereign. You realize that you can keep yourself alive in the woods if need be. You realize that you have the ability to grow a garden or make medicine or go out and forage a meal if you have to. You lose a lot of fear. Um, and just by gaining knowledge, you don't even really have to put these things into practice, although I highly recommend you do. But you could just read about them, and soaking up the knowledge, it dissipates the fear, and it dissipates the government's ability to play on your emotions and play on your fears, thus controlling you. So there will always be a way, there always has been a way to maneuver around these government rules, these government whatever. You know, it's just a bunch of men and people who don't know what the hell they're talking. They've lost touch with real suffering and real everyday problems. And, you know, they're trying to justify their greediness. They're trying to justify their shitty acts, and they're trying to justify their own things. They're trying to help themselves sleep at night. And the way they do that is by pointing fingers at people who they think are poor or they think are a lower class than them, and condemning them. I promise you that none of these people who are making these laws, making these rules, making any of this would know what to do. They would be tits up if they were put in the situation that they're putting many people in. So never be afraid. Don't let these people scare you. There are ways. This beautiful herb right here can help you. Mugwort, okay? There's so many herbs and plants and things that can help you in that situation. Don't feel powerless. Don't let them make you feel powerless, because it takes your consent. It takes your willingness to give away your power. It takes, like, you don't need, no government's coming to save us. No God's coming to save us. Nobody's coming to save us but ourselves. Only we can stand up and learn foraging, learn wildcrafting, learn gardening, learn basic survival skills, learn where your freaking food comes from. You know, most people have never even seen their, like, a food growing in outside. Like, they've never seen it. Like, you know, my ex-husband, I showed him a radish. Like, I made a flower arrangement with radish pods, and I was like, look at these. You know what these are? He's like, no, I've never actually even seen a radish growing. So get to know those things. Get to know the things that matter, because everything that is talked about on the news, money, all of these systems and all of these ideas we uphold as a society, we can also put down. We don't have to buy into it. We don't have to participate. And life, it's not going to make life easier. Life will always be hard. So nothing you do is going to get you out of a hard life, or having to make hard decisions, or having to go through suffering. That is what this life is about. So get comfortable with that. Get comfortable with the idea that, you know what, no matter what, good or bad happens, there's gonna be hard times. There's gonna be good times. Like, the ebb and flow, you know, of things. It's gonna always happen. My biggest advice is accept the idea that change is the only constant, because really that is the only thing that keeps me sane and me being okay with, like, the constant changing of everything and people coming in and out of my life. I just accept that change is the only constant in this reality. And yeah, you know, don't let these people scare you. Don't let these people make you afraid of being sovereign, okay? Of being in charge of yourself, of making decisions for yourself, because there's nothing coming to save us. No fucking government, no God. We are the gods. God is inside of us. God, that's why we have free will. We have free will so we can follow that inner voice, and all of that inner voice is different. It's going to lead you down different paths than everybody else around you. Let it. Be okay with that. Be okay with things constantly changing and evolving and growing, and don't let yourself get stuck in ideas and ways of being, because you don't have to. You don't have to. You can drop everything. You can drop it all and be something different. Be a different way. You can, if today you're really, if like, I remember I went years being pissed off and I was always mad. I was finding a way, and everything was negative. I was always finding a way to make everything negative. And one day I had an epiphany. I thought, you know what? I don't have to react this way. I don't have to keep doing this. Even though everybody who has come to know me expects it out of me, even though everybody expects it out of me, I'm going to do something different. And I magically one day just started complimenting everybody. And even though people around me, they tried to make me feel bad. They tried to make me feel like I was flirting with people. They tried to make me feel like I was being fake. They tried to make me feel like I was trying to be liked. I didn't let that stop me. I didn't let it stop me. I said, you know what? That's your opinion. And cool. But I'm going to keep doing me. I'm going to keep doing this. And nothing, and you know, I didn't let anything stop me. And before you know it, before I knew it, I was able to see the good in things. I was able to move through my day without getting angry. Change is possible. Trust me, you guys. Don't be afraid. I love you all so much. We are stronger and more powerful than they have taught us to be. Believe that. I love you all.